right? They just sent everybody to go to this to commit this crime, and then they dip. They strategies haven't changed, right? But right there in the United States Code say that if the government creates a condition of a crime, right, or creates elicits a person to commit a crime, right, then that person is not guilty by what they call entrapment. Now, most of us don't know COINTELPRO was designed to take the leadership, the natural leadership, because we can always gravitate toward us as opposed to politicians in Washington. We're not going to look up to nobody in the capital of the state for a remedy for our problems. We're going to look from somebody that came from where we at, grew up with us to come with the solution, and they knew this. So what do? Every child that shows promise, especially the boys, because they normally lead the war cause. If the boy look like he can organize, get rid of him. If he look like he can educate and inform, get rid of him. If the people look like he's the most loved, most respected, get rid of him. You have to find a way to get rid of him. Always try to get rid of him. Can't let him have a leader. J. Edgar Hoover wrote in the mission statement of the COINTELPRO that they purpose. The mission was to stop the rise of any potential messiah who could incite the masses. We don't have messiahs over here, right? Messiahs came from a different culture. We had different leaders over here, but they looked like everybody else because we didn't have the separation in the families where my family better than yours. We used to play the dozens, but that was for fun, right? But we didn't really have in our heart that my family is better than yours. Is that how can my family and your family make more out of abundance out of life? That's why they broke up Black Wall Street. That's the principle. Right? It's the principle. You can't allow the oppressed to understand what the oppressor is doing that keeps them oppressed. What is the tools of oppression being used to tie your hands, your feet, and bind you to their cross? If you don't understand it, there's no way you can help yourself, let alone somebody else. So some of us, Larry say, some of us got to hit the books. We ain't gang banging no more. We brain banging because as he matured as an individual and self-educated and self-imprisoned, it dawned on him that the conditions, we wasn't educated enough in our community to see the conditions and to read the strategy being used against us. We didn't understand warfare. We didn't understand political paradigms. We didn't understand conquest and conquering mechanisms of power from kings and queens because everybody over here was a no big I know you philosophy. And if we had a problem with each other, we ran that fade, but didn't nobody die. Now they died off the basic misunderstanding you could think of. Right? Why you step on my shoe? Remember what Ice Cube wrote? Us. We'll always sing the blues because all we care about is hairstyles and tennis shoes. And if you stepped on man, you pushed a button because I'm going to beat you down like it ain't nothing. Killing each other like savage beasts. But I'm the first one to holler out, peace, black man. Think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
Ice Cube told us that, and he was like 22, 23 when he told us that. If that. So how well did that teenage boy understand the problem to be able to put it in song format to express it to us? Right? And this is all done by outside interference. And this all traced back to the underlying cause to Larry being locked up, Jeff being locked up, Imam Al-Amin being locked up, Asada being in exile. It's all the same.
But Rod, I was, and I was just about to ask you. That was going to be my next question. Why do you think Trump keeps calling, black people get happy? Anything Trump do, Trump Trump supporters, they the biggest dick riders I ever seen in my life. But Trump keeps saying he wants Asada. He wants to bring Asada back to the States. Why you think he keeps talking about Asada? Cuba ain't letting Asada go. Why does Trump keep talking about he
Cuba,
wanna? Yeah.
Cuba not holding her hostage. Cuba not holding her hostage. The problem is if they want Asada to come home, everybody write to Governor of New Jersey and say, give us pardon Asada. Just like they want all these people in the Fed to be pardoned by Trump, but ain't nobody's really speaking up for Asada Shakur. You know, you had a few people that understood the struggle. Kanye got a song about Asada. Pac talked about her in a couple of songs. But the reason why you want people to continuously mention the name of a person that suffers an injustice, so that you can establish justice on behalf of the person that was done unjustly. Somebody got to be able to tell the story of Asada Shakur, and who better to tell the story than Asada Shakur? She the best person to tell the Asada Shakur story. I could tell her story. Pac could tell her story. Biggie can tell her story. Mobb Deep can tell her story. NWA can tell it. The best person to tell Asada Shakur story is Asada Shakur, and they don't want her telling her story. But now that the old system, because remember, the last 8, 9 years we've been going through continuity of government since the first Trump administration, right? We got to remember, Obama is a foreigner. He's not from here. And he wasn't born here is why the birth certificate even mattered. Because constitutionally, when he took office, that was the end of America. America had been successfully conquered by a foreign outside force. They tried to kill him for it. Did Gregory tell the story about Petraeus and how Petraeus got arrested trying to assassinate Obama? But he ain't tell you what it was about. Obama looked like us, but he not one of us. He one of them boys from Brazil, from the Nazi breeding program, and they got more than one of them.
I think you told me something about Akhenaten, right? They
Yeah,
breed
that's who money they took cells from
to make.
to culture the cells and reproduce a pharaoh that they thought could pull rank on the boy king. You're not gonna do that. It's a hierarchy of enforcement in the tribal ways around the world. All tribes was put into the game and under Sukarno during the Bang Dong conference. All tribes was activated then. We didn't have no answer for white supremacy before the Bang Dong conference. Now we had an answer for it, but everybody not applying the answer. Or else it wouldn't have took us from the 1950s Bang Dong conference to the 2020s in order to determine how to break free. Nobody's paying attention. Everybody's trying to live their own individual life, but it's the sacrifice of the community. And then by sacrificing the community to live your life, you end up getting sacrificed by the community for living your life. So it's the two double-edged swords cutting both ways.
Mm, mm. Yeah. I want to read you because I want to post this. I want to wait. Hold up. Let me text my lady back. Give me 1 second. I want to read you because I want to read you some comments from Instagram and TikTok, and I'm gonna take this your answer. What you answer with this, I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna post it on Instagram and TikTok as a clip because majority of us on this channel, we know what the deal is. These people that's commenting, making certain remarks, they may not be privy to the same information as the people on this channel. So I just want to let you know how some of the masses may think when they hear about Larry Hoover. Hold up. Give me a second, family. Larry Hoover is a man who should have never been pardoned. Another comment. Black men who contribute to the delinquency of their communities always get so much love, but God forbid a woman is a stripper or entertainer or speaks up against the speaks up about abuse. Next comment. We have to understand how the system works so we can recognize performative acts with the agenda to appease our people. Trump can only pardon at a federal level. Hoover still has life with the state. So at the end of the day ended with the same result as yesterday. Next comment. No, we got to stop glorifying gang leaders that contributed to the detriment of our community. Next comment. He was a gangster that contributed to the demise and destruction of his own black community. Let's not do this. Crawl, and they said Chance because that's the person. Chance the Rapper made a post about him defending him. So they said, Chance, crawl back into the hole you came out of. Next comment. Meanwhile, grandma Medicaid is being taken away, but NBA is back. Y'all so celebrity obsessed. Next comment. Y'all acting like he's Fred Hampton or something. This is ridiculous. And this is going to be the last comment I read, and you can make your response. And like I said, I'm going to post this for people who may not be privy to the information on people in this as the people on this channel. Indeed, he was a no. Where is it? Hold up, y'all. All right, I'm gonna end it there because I don't see. I'm gonna see it there. What do you think about those comments on Instagram and TikTok?
It shows how either those people are not our people and don't understand our culture, or they've been successfully indoctrinated by the assimilation system that Garvey warned us about. Because once you believe that the system is working in your interest, anybody that they villainize is going to be your villain, and anybody that they make a hero is going to be your hero. This is how we get caught up in celebrity worship, as one of the comments was about celebrities. The celebrity worship is they give us celebrities in place of leadership. So we had a bunch of children in the 80s called rappers that came out as children and told us about leadership in music. So they had to shut it down. These people was waged a war against us, and propaganda warfare is more powerful than bullets and gun warfare. Because under bullets and gun warfare, you can clearly see the enemy busting at you. But when you go into propaganda warfare, your enemy controls the media, your enemy controls the banking system, your enemy controls the education of your child, that your enemy controls your entertainment, right? Your enemy controls where you're going to work, if you're going to be able to stay there. Your enemy control all political arenas from the local level to the federal level and everything in the middle. Your enemy has placed admiralty judges across the land to give you the appearance of legitimacy. Your enemy has put uniforms on and flooded the community because they foreign agents. They have to clearly identify themselves. If you don't understand none of that stuff, then you speaking presumptuously without knowing why you feel the way you feel. The only reason why you don't know that you've been indoctrinated and brainwashed is because you've been indoctrinated and brainwashed. I don't even like to say brainwashed. I like to say contaminated mind. Because to wash something is to cleanse it. So I think most of us need to be brainwashed because they gave us so much filth to put our trust in a government that has nothing to do with the people. That's not actually a government. It's actually a corporation, like Halliburton did in Iraq and Afghanistan. They repeating the same history over and over, but you have people that still don't know what's going on in the world around them, so they derive opinions based off propaganda warfare. And you're going to always, when you base your opinion off propaganda, You can always show yourself by the stance you take on the topic you do not understand, but you think you do. Right? Neely Fuller was quoted by Francis Wellesley in the ISIS papers. And it said the quote she quoted him as saying is, if you don't understand white supremacy, then everything that you think you understand is only confusing you. I come from the school of thought and didn't feel like this. We're not always supposed to all agree all the time. That's foolish. People have a right to have a different opinion than I have, a different understanding of the same material that we both read than I have. They may see stuff in there that I don't see. I may see stuff in there that they don't see. That goes to individuality. The person being able to express themselves and to tell you what they see, but also able to understand and listen to what you see. That gave you 2 points of view on the same subject matter, and now you use it as comparative analysis to reconcile the differences in the two. This is exactly the process of questioning that Neely Fuller give in the United Independent Compensatory Code in order to combat the ideology of white supremacy. White supremacy is an actual operative war protocol being instituted under the all 9 areas or 10 areas of people activity. The blueprint or the definition of what it is written as protocols of the learned elders of Zion, which is billed as a fictitious document, but everything that they say them people is doing in that book, they actually doing it in real life. And if you understood the book, you can look around and you can see that the people that's in charge of everything in the book told you what they was going to try to get in charge of. And they did it. And the only reason they was more successful than us is because they was teaching us something called rugged individualism, where we can pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps when we don't have boots. So this is how they get us seduced into fighting for them instead of fighting to liberate our own self and our own mind. That's why Larry say we not gang banging, we brain banging. Get in the library and read the books. Read the whole library if you can. The law library, the art library, whatever library you get into, read it. Because as the information mature in your mind, you'll be able to see the problem better. So those people that make those comments, they entitled to say whatever they want to say, but that don't make them right. Right? Like somebody brought up the Alliance Credit Union case. More the Alliance Credit Union, and they was telling me that the case was fictitious, so I had to go double back and found that it was based on the ruling of a tax case, Moore versus United States, but somebody used it to put the information as to how to defend against the mortgage fraud in the case based on that other case. So it's like a parody. The thing about it is there's a 1890 something case or early 1900s case out of it's either Minnesota or Wisconsin in the Northwest Territory that tells how the person who had the mortgage was defrauded because the bank never gave them anything of value. Right? And that case still stands, but nobody uses it to fight their mortgage claims. Right? But the more of the Alliance Credit Union is using the same information that was used in the prior case to write the parody based on the More v. United States case. And I had to go back and look into that. But the information is not always accurate. You guys be able to withstand correction if you want to move beyond the error. Ain't nobody perfect. We ain't supposed to believe everything that everybody say anyway. We supposed to believe what our inner self tell us about what they say more than we believe what they say. Because once you become your first point of reference, you begin to see through a lot of the misaligned information. Like the villainizing of words is critical to propaganda warfare. tribe and gang mean the same thing. And matter of fact, not only do they mean the same thing, democracy at its root, where the majority rule by vote, ties back into them same two words, tribe and gang. Right? It's called mob rule in democracy. And when you go back to just read Plato's Republic, and you realize that all of the stuff they're doing is a big stage play in order to occupy the mortal mind while they rule the world. Right? So those people can have their opinions and they can believe everything they want to believe. But Iran-Contra proves that the government was bringing the dope in, flooding our communities with it.
You know, Rod, so you talked about the stage play that's happening while certain elite, so-called elite, rule the world. This so-called elite, Phil calls them the parasitic elite. They have access to a lot of information we don't have access to.
Yes, they do.
They hide a lot of information and use it for themselves, or or they flood the world with misinformation just to confuse the people. You are a very spiritual brother. Obviously, we all know at this point. One of the things that you do is astral travel. And you told me we had the conversation on the phone. You told me you astral traveled and came across the information in this book. What I want to ask you, let's get a little deeper now. We talked about, the surface level of this thing. Let's get a little spiritual with this thing here. If you astral travel and you're coming across certain information, I'm sure you come across certain spirits when you astral travel. Have you ever came across the elite, the so-called elite, while you're astral traveling, because they're trying to obtain the same information you're trying to obtain, because they know where the fuck to go to get it? It's in your DNA. You know, but you don't know, but you running into the motherfuckers and they're like, what you doing here? And you like, what you doing here? And you're there at the same time. Have you ever ran into them astral traveling, my brother?
Well, you gotta remember, one of the things that you learn when you practicing sorcery is cloak magic.
Yeah.
Cloaking magic, they might look like a disincarnate being of a grotesque nature, or they can look extremely attractive. It don't matter, as long as you don't see the person for who they are. The same magic is being played on us in the physical realm that they use in the astral to hide themselves while they do their dirt. Franz Bardone wrote a book called Forbato the Magician. And in the book, Forbato the Magician, they made a movie about it with Perry Mason in it.
Okay.
Anyway, he was talking about his war with the dark sorcerers in the book. And it's a fiction, but it's loosely based on his life. Right? And he's telling how they use magic, and you can sense the magic better than you can sense who's sending it. Right? So they was using rituals against him, and then he was using counter magic, protection magic, to block him out from doing anything to him. Right? So on the astral plane, normally if somebody have malice, they don't astral travel. Most of the elites today don't use spirit science. They use technology to do the same thing that you do spiritually. Right? While we was astral traveling, they was learning remote viewing, but they was also